Welcome to this video. This is the 25 kilogram of circuit board scrapping out. Hopefully the sound quality should be better on this video, as I've got a wireless mic linked up to my phone now instead of using the mic that's built in, which isn't the best sounding on my previous videos. Hopefully this one will be better. So here we are, 25 kilograms exactly of various types of mostly power boards, which a few examples of some of them. Some smaller ones, makes this tower don't fall out. Some bigger ones, all various types, with all the heat sinks and copper coils and another one. As you can tell, there's a variety of different styles and types. Some better for the aluminium with bits of copper. Some others have got more copper on than others. I've tried to go for a mixed variety of different boards. Which they're all virtually the same really, same components, but they all have varying amounts of copper and aluminium and other things on. So I'll just get all these moved over, and I'll probably try and put me little stacks of very similar as possible piles, because when you got one and you're doing one that's similar, it's just the same process, so it makes it a bit quicker. And I'll go through in a second of a quick overrun of what I'm going for. So I'll be back with you in a sec. So I'll move them over, which most of these ones on this side are all virtually the same, just different styles. It's mainly going for the, let's grab them. But these ones here, I'm mainly going for the aluminium heat sinks, the MOSFETs, the little copper coils, and the various IC chips, MMLCs, and things like that off these boards. On some of them there are some gold-plated connectors, which I think on my 10 kilogram video, I think I'll show more exactly what I go for. So these ones on this side mostly for the copper, the aluminium, plus I'll be taking off the chips and ICs, the IC chips, MMLCs, and the gold-plated connectors. But there are a few. This pile here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boards here that'll be going for the aluminium, the MOSFETs, the copper and the ICs and stuff. But on them 6, they've all got a heatsink with some type of big chip underneath that's soldered on the underneath, which I'm going to have to cut off these solders so the whole top comes off, because it's screwed in from underneath. But I don't know if you can see on these that all the legs underneath of what's connected to the heatsink are some type of big IC or something, I'm not sure yet until I take it off. They're all gold-plated legs underneath. You can't see so well this side. On both sides, here's another one, same type of thing. I don't know if you can make it out. They're all gold-plated legs. So with this, I'm gonna have to, with a chisel or something, chisel off where it's been soldered through the board, and hopefully this will come off And then from underneath, then I can unscrew the heatsink and be left with the big, whatever it is underneath. It's got the gold-plated legs, which when I've got to that stage, take these off, I'll show on the video of what we actually find underneath this. And there's six of those. This one's got 2 on, the similar design, where it's, we have to remove the solder, but this one hasn't got the gold plated legs on it, but it's a similar type of chip or something underneath, but this one hasn't got gold plated, the other 2 have. Same thing with this one, same way, same design, no gold plated legs. This one, similar design, no gold plated. This one, similar again, which I'm going to have to go from underneath to pull it off. And that one's got gold plated legs. So 3 of them have got gold plated legs, and 3 of them haven't. Plus, just notice on this one, and there's the ends on that little board mounted fuse. It's got gold ends on, so I'll be retrieving that as well. So I'll better get cracking and start on stripping these down, which I'll get through a couple of them, and then I'll probably come back, show you a few bits I've taken off, and then I'll probably video while I'm doing one of the boards, and then we'll progress the video from there. I'll be back again shortly. I've taken a couple of boards just to show you what I've taken off so far, and I forgot to mention 25 kilograms boards as they are. If I took them to a scrapyard by me that buys low grade boards, they pay 50 pence per kilo. So as all those boards would be value of, I'd get £12.50 if I sold them boards as they are. So just mentioning that, because at the end I'll do what everything's worth that I've taken off and see how much I've increased profits by stripping them down. So far I've got a little bit of scrap metal, like the screws and stuff like that. These I take off, little capacitors, and there's a screw mixed in with that. Take that screw out, that's steel. Different colours I keep hold of, because some of them contain silver, which I'll do videos on them later on. A few different size IC chips I've got off the few boards so far. A few brass pins that I've got so far off them. Not many at the moment, but I've got just 4 little gold plated pins, just a 4 at the moment. Gold recovery. And other things I've taken off so I can recover the copper out of them. Inside these, a spool of copper as well, different ones, and these small ones, which I'll recover all the copper out of those at the end when I do a total conclusion on it all. And a couple of sheet aluminium heat sinks, and all the extruded aluminium taken off so far. And all of those was what was out of the little pile that was here. So I'll carry on working my way through, and I'll come back to you shortly. Nearly finished doing the depopulating the boards. I just thought I'd come and show you. There was 3 of these where they're soldered through the boards, and I said I'll have to cut the backs off or think of a way to get them off. What I decided was, if I get my little blowtorch on the lowest setting just to warm up the solder underneath, and what I did, heat up the bottom of the board and then pulled them off the board, which I thought, wasn't sure what they were, the big ICs, but that's what they look like on the inside. There's some little boards with MLC seeds, some microchips, and there's 3 boards that had normal pins, and there's 3 of these that had the gold plated pins that secured this to the board. That's one of the gold plated ones, virtually identical. This is the other one with the gold plated pins. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. And a smaller one with some like rubber coating over it, but that's the other one. It's got gold pins. And then these ones here just had the normal coated brass pins with some small chips, MLCCs, a couple of tantalum capacitors. But these 2 got like same thing again, coated brass pins, but this has got like a rubber coated on these ones. So I'll just get the last couple of board strips and then we'll be straight back. Just finished stripping the last things down off those 25 kilogram of low grade power boards. As you can probably see on this section that I've rearranged and changed the worktop up. That I forgot I hadn't done the last part before I changed everything around. Should have kept it the same so the video matched. But this is what we got. All my miscellaneous things I take off for future refining for any precious metals that they may contain. There's all my IC chips I've got off those 25 kilogram boards. Yeah, this little pile is all my relays. That's a little spool of copper and silver contacts. This little pile here is all the gold plated plugs, connectors, we're going to call them. We've got gold plating on the ends. Off some parts I was pulling the gold plated pins out, and that's my gold plated pins, and just there are the gold capped fuses. Hang on. All the MLCCs. Fuses. They've taken off all the boards. The bits of brass that are on there, it's mainly the holders, the fuse holders, usually all brass. All the MOSFETs, power transistors. Some insulated wire off some of the components. I'll show you this one first. These, all the transformers, these ones I've decided not to strip down because some of them you can't quite see inside to see how much copper's in there, so I don't bother unless because sometimes you can look down, you can see that there's got a lot of copper on it, and sometimes they're like this one where it's more layers of plastic than copper. So I mainly go for the ones that I can see. But I can just see inside this one through the little grooves that even though it's a bigger one, there's a lot of plastic layers, so there's less copper in, so I don't bother with those. But the ones I have taken off all the copper out is the copper plus all the aluminium capacitors taken off. That'd be iron halide. Let's bring the camera over. This is all the extruded and sheet aluminium. All the extruded aluminium, and that's all in there. Now, figures. Excuse me. Sorry. Sorry about that if I've deafened anybody. Now, as we said at the very beginning, to start off, I could get 50 pence per kilogram, so it would be £12.50 if I sold them as they were and not touched them. So, what I did is took all the components I want off, and this is just stripping them down, not really spending much time taking anything apart. I end up with 328 grams of copper, which work out to, over here, the value of the scrapyard by me would work out to £1.72. The motors, or transformers, which they take them as motors, there was 5,265 grams. That would be £3.68. All the aluminium is 6,204 grams, £4.34. All the MOSFETs, power transistors, 860 grams, which to get a price, there should be about 40% copper recovery out of them, but I've just, for the value, I just worked out as worst case scenario, 20% copper recovery out of those. So if we work out 20%, it would be 90 pence. It's 15 grams of brass, that's 5 pence. Those aluminium capacitors, it's in the black bucket, 2,410 grams, that would work out to 79 pence. And the scrap metal, all the bits of metal that comes off everything else and stuff, it's 1,115 grams, which is 13 pence. So at that time it was, would work out to £11.61, which actually works out less than the value if I hadn't done nothing and sold them as they were, which I am quite surprised at that part. It worked out lower value, but even for me, I wouldn't be bothered because I enjoyed doing it. But what I thought was see if I could increase the value above the £12.50 is I'll take apart and recover the copper out of most of the transformers. So like I said, I picked the better ones that are easier and quicker and got a decent amount of copper in them. So that obviously went down. The motors went down to 2,138 is what I've got left in here, but increased the copper value to 1,233 grams. And obviously, because of the metal in them and stuff like that, the scrap metal increased. So, ended up with more copper, so the value of that increased. The value of the motors went down because there's less motors left. Everything else there is the same because I didn't recover any more of them because I've already done it. So the scrap metal increased. So the new value, as it is exactly now, is £14.48, which is £2.87 more than after I strip them down. But it's only £1.98 more than as they are. So getting to this extent, it does increase the value, but it's a lot more work involved. So I'm quite surprised. I thought it would have been better because the amount of aluminium and copper, but as you can see, no. But me, I enjoy it. I'll carry on doing it. I'll probably pick my boards that I'm going to strip down. I'll probably pick the better ones that I got more of the copper I'm going to be able to get off, and more IC chips and things like that. I'll probably, if there's not much on it, leave it as it is, because the bits you are taking off isn't going to be enough to increase the value. But anyway, so, but £1.98 more. But as a bonus, I get, that doesn't include that value, is I get the IC chips, the gold pins, the MMLCs, the fuses, that is potential silver recovery. So, and I haven't included the silver contacts and the copper that are in those. So to me, that is bonus items. So you might have different views on all this, but I enjoyed taking them apart. Didn't quite enjoy the motors as much. The main part I like doing is stripping the boards down. But there we go. And that's the conclusion of this one. If you go to the extent of doing your motors, you can increase the profit, but if you're just going to strip them down but not recover the copper out of the transformers and motors and stuff, then you're at a loss. So leave them as they are. And I'll leave you with this one now, and hopefully I'll catch you on the next one.